Wow, wasn't that exciting? I can't imagine what the chat's going to be like at the moment. For this section of the live stream, I'm going to pass straight over to Matt, who has a big announcement.
Train Sim World 5 is coming on September 17th with new routes, new locos and new features. And for the first time, a more welcome entry point for all players.
Yes, I'm sure you noticed the costume change already, but one of the first things we wanted to talk about was we have been listening to your feedback as the community. You wanted a more accessible way to be able to get to the latest version of Train Sim World and be able to bring your entire collection with you. So we have heard you, and with Train Sim World 5 we will be providing a free starter pack for all players to be able to upgrade to Train Sim World 5. Players will be able to come in for no cost and bring their entire collection with them with limited core features from day one. It'll be available for 30 days after the release of Train Sim World 5 on the 17th of September and will be yours permanently to keep. There will be some great value paid for bundles as well, and we can't wait to see all of you play the latest version of the game. So, a couple of examples. If you are a Train Sim World 3 player and you've been looking enviously over at some of the Train Sim World 4 content, such as Long Island Commuter, or the Suffragette Line, or Kinzigtalbahn, that will no longer be a problem for you. You'll be able to get all of the routes that we will be releasing for Train Sim World 5 if you upgrade to the free starter pack.
And a second example, if you're a player who's been playing Train Sim World 2 and you have seen all of the remasters that have been coming out, so for example Cathcart Circle and with Somerset Railway, then when you move over to Train Sim World 5, you'll get all those remasters.
This will give you the freedom to play Train Sim World 5 the way that you want to without any limits. The rails really truly are yours. But if you thought that was exciting, wait till we get to our route reveals, because we have 3 amazing route reveals for you as part of the standard edition for Train Sim World 5. And we'll be spending the next half an hour talking to you a little bit about them. And for our first route, we're going to be talking about our British route. And in Train Sim World 4, we talked to you about the East Coast Main Line and brought that to players. This year, we're going to go west.
The first route coming to Train Sim World 5 is West Coast Main Line, London to Milton Keynes.
I know Matt's really excited about this one, so tell us a little bit more.
This is probably one of the most highly requested routes from players for a long time, but in particular since we did the East Coast Main Line last year, a lot of people asking, when are you going to go west? This is a really busy mainline commuter route. It's got 4 tracks all the way, and you're going to be driving from London Euston across 50 miles and 28 stations to Milton Keynes and the north. It's got some really complex stations along the way. You're interfacing and then linking up with different lines like the London Underground, the London Overground, as well as the mainline train. This is just such an interesting route, and no wonder it's so popularly requested.
Absolutely, Matt. So what trains can players expect to come with the West Coast Main Line?
So the big new entry here is the Class 350 EMU. It's a really interesting train to drive, brand new entry into the Train Sim World roster. But coupling with that, you've got the Class 377 in a slightly different version to the one that you might be familiar with. Normally the 377 is a third rail train. This one's overhead powered.
And what are you looking forward to most, Matt, about this route? What can players really get buzzed about?
Lots of things to keep you interested in, the volume of traffic, and really visiting so many iconic locations around the country.
Amazing. So West Coast Main Line, London Euston to Milton Keynes makes up the first route from the Train Sim World 5 roster. Just a quick note before we carry on, all of these announcements we'll be talking a little bit more about in preview live streams, as well as our roadmap coming later this week too. So you'll be getting loads more information about West Coast Main Line and all of the other reveals that we're going to be talking about today. So let's move on to Train Sim World 5's second route offering. And for our US route, we're going to be adding to our Californian collection.
The next route coming to Train Sim World 5 is the San Bernardino line from Los Angeles to San Bernardino. So this route is really interesting. You're going to be driving through dense urban scenery. It's quite a contrast. If you played the Antelope Valley line, even though we're starting at the same station, it goes east instead of going north. Starting at Los Angeles Union Station, you're then going to be running 57 miles through 16 stations to get through to San Bernardino. And you might be familiar with San Bernardino from the Cajon Pass route, so you're going to be using a different part of San Bernardino than you'd be familiar with previously, stopping at the station. Probably one of the most cool things that I like when I'm driving this route is there's a section in the line where you're driving in the middle of a massive highway, you know, these big American highways are, and you're this lone train in the middle of this highway, and at certain camera angles it kind of looks like you're a train driving on the road. It's really cool. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that, seeing some really cool screenshots coming up from people. In addition to the Metrolink depot near Los Angeles, the CMF, there's also the depot that Metrolink operate in San Bernardino, the EMF. So both of those are in and accessible.
Brilliant. And yeah, I can't wait to see all of the photo mode shots as well of people going down the highway with the train going on there. Speaking of trains, what is going to be included, Matt, in this particular route?
So new to San Bernardino line is the Metrolink MP36 along with the Bombardier coaches, and these are going to be in two different liveries for the coaches as well. So there's a newer livery as well as the slightly older one. But the line wouldn't be complete with just those trains in there. So we've included the F125 and the Rotem cars as well and made sure to mix it all up, because in reality, that's exactly what Metrolink do. And so you'll see exactly those kinds of super realistic formations that you can drive as well.
Amazing. So there's going to be loads of variety, loads of interesting formations, as you say. And you might have noticed as well that a couple of the stations are on routes that already exist within Train Sim World. Hold that thought. We're going to come back to that later. So Matt, what are you most excited for about this particular route?
Aside from the middle of the highways, I think that's just a really cool part. The mix-up of the trains for me, it's just like these are really cool, interesting trains that don't look the same all the time. The MP36 is a great train to drive, the F125 is a great train to drive, and it's just that mix-up of driving experience I think is very interesting.
Fantastic. So that is the second of the 3 core routes for Train Sim World 5. We've now filled the slots for our US and our UK routes for Train Sim World 5, and we've got one more slot to go. As is tradition, we'll be filling that with our German route. And we know you like busy passenger lines. We've already given you many in Train Sim World. Well, this year we wanted to crank it up to 11, or should that be 11?
The final route coming to Train Sim World 5 Standard Edition is FrankfurtFulda, the Kinzigtalbahn.
I can't wait for this one. This is going to be so exciting for people who are fans of busy railways. Matt, tell us a little bit more.
This is a really interesting line. I mean, probably the highlight of this route is bringing the busiest German railway station into Train Sim World 5. We're starting this journey in Frankfurt, and it's brilliant to be there. It's an iconic location and it looks tremendous. So busy with so many trains, so many lines intersecting. Really, really cool. But the line itself runs from Frankfurt via Hanau over to Fulda and is a really interesting drive. And there's all sorts of different traffic. One of the things that players have told us, particularly with the German routes, is so much variety with intercity, express, passenger and S-Bahn type traffic as well, all mixed into the same line. And that's what we've tried to do here as well. And it's come out really nicely.
And yes, Matt, the trains included are an integral part of this particular route. Can you tell us a little bit about what is included with the Frankfurt-Fulda line?
Absolutely. So the headline new train for the Frankfurt-Fulda line, another train much requested by players, is the BR411 ICE T. This is a tilting train. It's ICE, so it's got all that sleekness that you're familiar with, but this is the tilting version of it, and it adds a lovely bit of new variety into your rolling stock roster. Then in addition to that, you've got the BR193 Vectron. This time it's in DB red livery. Going on with that, you've got the BR423, you've got the BR146.2 with the Dostos, and you've got the BR114. So you've got a wide range of trains doing a wide range of things, from freight, passenger, express, to stopping, along with layers to fill out the category from the rest of your collection as well.
Yeah, I made that 5 locos that are featured with this particular route, and that is, I think, is that a record for Train Sim World?
It's the same number I think that we did with Dresden Riesa, which is one of the things that we were really looking back to as players really told us they liked that. So that's what we try to repeat here.
Brilliant. And Matt, what are you most excited? I think this feels like an obvious question for this particular route, but what are you most excited for?
I want that ICET. I want to be driving that ICET. There's lovely swoops and curves, and this train is going to fly around those curves.
Yes, and the tilting mechanism allows you to go a little bit quicker around those curves as well, doesn't it?
Exactly that. You've got the GNT system, which means that you can go faster than the speed limits, and you'll be able to, you're getting excited about that, JD.
I'm going faster than the speed limits.
Yeah,
that is a bit of me.
Yeah. So you'll be flying around all of these corners and having a really great time as you drive from Frankfurt to Fulda.
Amazing. So that fills our roster of 3 routes for Train Sim World 5 Standard Edition. We could not be more excited to bring these to you on September 17th, but that is only a little bit of the story, because we're going to be talking about what you can get as part of the Deluxe Edition. And if you want a few more locos, well, we've got you covered. So with our first loco announce, we're going back to Germany. And if you're a fan of lime green locos, I think you're going to enjoy this one.
So the first loco coming as part of Train Sim World 5 Deluxe Edition is the FlixTrain Br193 Vectron.
I can't wait to break up the sea of red on German routes.
It's so exciting. This is a really cool, fun livery as well. I am very excited to get it into the game, and it's something that, again, players have been asking for. As well as the Vectron, it also comes with the Talbot coaches that run behind these trains. This is a very exciting new operator to get into TSW, and yeah, we've been having a lot of fun with it.
And I assume with the new rolling stock, you'll be able to use that on Formation Designer as well, Matt, to sort of append to any existing German stock that you might have?
Absolutely. Mix and match. It's your game, your play.
Okay, so what is the home route for the FlixTrain, and what kind of services can players expect to run?
So the FlixTrain will be running on FrankfurtFulda, and it's a variety of services, to be honest. It's predominantly an intercity train, but it runs long haul and rapid services.
So that is an amazing variety of services on the ever increasing Frankfurt-Fulda route. That is now 6 locos, 6 on the Frankfurt-Fulda line. So the FlixTrain Vectron is the first deluxe loco coming to Train Sim World 5, but we have another one for you, and we are super excited about this one. We get requests for this train more than any other British train. We think you're going to be positively tilting with delight.
The next train coming to Train Sim World 5 Deluxe Edition is the Avanti Class 390 Pendolino.
I know that there is going to be so much excitement for this one, and I cannot wait for players to have this in their hands. Matt, can you tell us a little bit more about the Pendolino and what makes it special?
Absolutely. Pendolino has a unique look and feel to it. It looks amazing. It's a fan favourite, to be honest, whether you're a player of Train Sim or just a genuine train fan. This train comes in a 9 and 11 car variants. They'll be coming in representing the entire fleet of the trains, and obviously includes tilting technology. So
this is an iconic loco for UK rail fans. Matt, what kind of services can players expect to play, and on what route will they be playing them on?
They'll be driving the Pendolino on the West Coast Main Line, of course, and you'll be running out of Euston, going up to Milton Keynes, and there are 3 or 4 stations you'll be stopping at, or you'll be doing non-stop runs. Actually quite a lot of variety you get out of this train on this route. So
with the Pendolino adding to the roster, that is the end of the routes and locos that you will be able to get with Train Sim World Standard and Deluxe Editions. Or is it? Because as part of Deluxe Edition, you will also be able to get your hands on Cajon Pass if you have not already, and all of the trains within it. And those are your routes and locos coming with Train Sim World 5. We are super excited to get these into your hands on September 17th. You will be getting the West Coast Main Line, London Euston to Milton Keynes. You'll be getting the Frankfurt-Fulda route, the San Bernardino line, and if you get the Deluxe edition, you will also get access to the FlixTrain Vectron, which runs on the FrankfurtFulda route, and you'll also be able to get access to the amazing Pendolino, which will run on West Coast Main Line. You'll also get the Cajon Pass route, which will add some freight services to San Bernardino too. However, that is not all you're going to be getting with Train Sim World 5, because we have some amazing core features coming with the game as well. We'll be telling you a little bit more about those in a second. So when we were compiling the list of features for Train Sim World 5, we did this with players in mind. We see every week that there are feature requests, we've done player surveys, and we've tried to build out the feature set based on that feedback. So with that said, let's go through the full list, shall we? Starting with an updated live map. And I'm so excited for this because beforehand, I'll be honest with you, it was the bane of my life. Matt, tell us a little bit more.
So the live map's a very exciting upgrade. It's something players have been asking for a long time, and it's brilliant to actually be able to get to that now for everybody. There's a couple of major improvements that we're looking at here. So you're looking at new labels coming onto things, so you'll actually know where you are by name. Again, possibly the most requested feature of the map is where am I? In addition to that, we've changed how the signal graphics look, so you'll now know which way the signal is facing, which is always quite useful. We've changed the graphics for how they look as well in terms of the icons that are used. And there's a legend that tells you all of these icons now, so you don't have to try and remember what they all mean. What color does this marker mean? Platforms, stations, objectives, all this stuff is going to be shown. And then if you hover the cursor over a train or a signal, you get a tooltip with lots more information about it. So you can really find out a lot more about what's going on that 2D map now.
Yeah, and I think it just looks more attractive as well, doesn't it? It looks a lot more user-friendly, and that's kind of a theme that we'll be putting forward through a lot of these features today as well. Regular Train Sim World players might be aware of Conductor Mode. We've trialled it on a couple of scenarios within Glossop Line and more recently Long Island Commuter, and the feedback was spectacular. So we have implemented it into a full game mode, which is coming with Train Sim World 5's core routes. Matt, can you tell us a little bit more, please?
So yeah, this is a way for you to enjoy your favourite routes and trains. If you're not interested in driving for a little while, you want to ride the train, but you want to stay busy. Conductor Mode allows you to go and collect tickets, check them, get rid of passengers that shouldn't be on the train. It's about clearing the baggage, and one of the main roles of Conductor is maintaining safety of the train and the passengers. You'll be opening and closing the doors. So there's quite a lot to do to keep you busy. And these two modes we did previously were really popular with players. Number one request was, I want it in service mode. Here it is in service mode.
Exactly, and it gives players variety, gives them a different way to enjoy the game, and also everyone to have that little bit more immersion when they're playing Train Sim World 5. So for the next Train Sim World 5 core feature, fast travel, Matt, I'm going to start with a question. I'm playing on a route on Train Sim World 5 and I've got to the end of my service. What do I do?
So previously, you'd have to find something to do where you're finishing your service, or go back out to the menu and pick something else. But now you can think, what if the service I want to run is somewhere else on the route? Or maybe then I look on the map, the nice new shiny 2D map, you can see there's some really cool stuff happening on another station. Now you can just fast travel there immediately.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. All you need to do is click the location on the 2D map and you'll be teleported straight there, meaning that you can customize your experience to any way you see fit. So that's fast travel. For the next Train Sim World 5 core feature, which is route hopping, Matt, I have another question for you. So I am doing a Metrolink service to San Bernardino. I get to the end of my service, and what happens next?
So route hopping allows some really cool extra stuff here. So if you've got Deluxe Edition and you're in Cajon Pass, you can now use route hopping to jump to San Bernardino on Cajon Pass and change route, but without changing station, which is very cool. That means that now I can go from having driven my Metrolink train to San Bernardino, route hop to the other route, and then I can drive a freight train to Barstow.
So this is a way to extend your experience within Train Sim World and be able to go from one route to another seamlessly. You might have noticed some of the other Train Sim World 5 routes have connections to existing routes in the Train Sim World back catalogue. So the West Coast Main Line will connect to Bakerloo, and FrankfurtFulda route will also connect to the Kassel-Würzburg route from day one, as well as San Bernardino also connecting to the Antelope line too. So you've got a really, really long experience there if you use route hopping. So with all of those features, you'd be forgiven for thinking that was all Train Sim World 5 had to offer. But no, we have more for you, because there are some brilliant features already existing in Train Sim World which we have tweaked and we have improved, and we'd like to tell you a little bit more about those now. So the first of what we're going to call additional features include an update to photo mode. Matt, do you want to tell us a little bit more?
Absolutely. Biggest improvement in photo mode is the ability to customize the weather and the time of day in real time while you're taking the screenshot. So we pause the game and you line up the camera where you want it to be, and then you think to yourself, I wish there was a bit of snow here, and I wish the sun was in a different place because it's kind of blurring the shot out at the moment. So you can now move the sun effectively by changing the time of day and season, and then change the weather. So you get exactly the shot you want. And none of this gets in the way of your gameplay, because the minute you press resume, it all snaps back to how it was.
Amazing. So another opportunity for players to get the perfect shot, customize their experience.
Absolutely.
Our next feature is a feature that we have had in Train Sim World for a little while now, but has had a bit of a facelift. It is Training Center.
So with Training Center, we've added a new locomotive. We've added the BR146.2. So we've now added some German themed tutorials into Training Center. We've reworked all of the tutorials and added a bunch of extra ones that cover different topics and an expanded range of subjects. And then we've added some textual tutorials in that you can just go and look up, along with some video support and images. So that it covers an enormous range of topics now, including technical details like what signals do and how you interact with them, what safety systems do, and other details like that. So you've really got a lot of time that you can look in now on the Training Center. And what's even better is that you can call all this up while you're in the middle of another drive. So you press the pause key and you can call up Training Center and go and look at those reference materials when you're stuck, rather than having to come out and go back in again.
And that's so important. And again, we talk about features that we're particularly excited for. I know this isn't necessarily the sexiest feature, but it is something that is really important, because we get so many people tell me, I don't know what I'm doing here. And the ability to be able to do that within a game session will be so important, as well as all of the upgraded tutorials that we'll be giving you with Train Sim World 5. And speaking of accessibility, something that is really important to us at Dovetail, we wanted to do something to really help with that. Modern trains are very digitally based, and that can mean reading really tiny things on a screen and not having an awful lot of navigability. So we have enhanced the digital display screens you will see on many of the trains in Train Sim World 5. Matt, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the key things is that when you're trying to interact with these or even view them, they're moving around with the movement of the sway of the train, and they're quite fine details, and it can be quite fiddly to interact with. Well, now you can just click on the screen and zoom it up to the full screen. And while it's zoomed up like that, it won't wiggle around at all, making it immensely easier to interact with. And that's a benefit to everybody, whether you have difficulty interacting with it before, whether you just want it to be nice and clear on your screen. So that's a huge improvement. And then we're also adding the ability to navigate the cursor around using keyboard controls as well, because not everybody likes using a mouse or using a joystick, and they want digital controls to move the cursor around the screen as well.
That feels like a really nice quality of life improvement, and we hope the players find it really useful too. And finally, for this section, we brought suspension improvements to some Train Sim World 4 locos. We can confirm that that will be a standard feature in all Train Sim World 5 locos moving forward. And that is that for Train Sim World 5's core features, coming to you on September 17th. Here is that list again, so you can take a look at it. As with all of the stuff that we've talked about over the course of this Dovetail Direct, you'll be able to find out more information and see it in action during our live streams, during our roadmaps, during our articles, our preview videos. There's going to be loads of opportunities for you to be able to see this stuff before the big day. So if you're as excited as we are about Train Sim World 5, you'll be wanting to know how you can get involved on September 17th. Well, as we mentioned beforehand, there are plenty of bundles and options on offer, including the starter pack, which is the free option to upgrade with limited access to Train Sim World 5 core features and none of the routes that we talked about just now, but it will get you and bring all of your compatible content along on day one. You'll also have the opportunity to get the standard edition, which has the 3 routes that we talked about, as well as also all of the Train Sim World 5 core features. We think this one is best for new players coming to Train Sim World 5 for the first time. The next one is our Deluxe edition, which also contains everything that we've just talked about, plus the FlixTrain Vectron and the amazing Pendolino, as well as Cajon Pass. And with Deluxe edition, you will also get 5 days early access to Train Sim World 5, so you can access it on the 12th of September, ahead of anybody else. However, if you're a collector and upgrading from an earlier version of Train Sim World, perhaps Special Edition is the best version for you. It is our best value offering and contains 5 additional routes that we have handpicked because they are some of our favourites, as well as also interacting with other Train Sim World 5 core routes via the route hopping feature. As you will have noticed, Standard, Deluxe and Special Editions will also get either a pre-order or a loyalty discount depending on the platform that you play on. Please check out our website for more information. And we are delighted to announce that Train Sim World 5 will be available on Game Pass for Game Pass players on September 17th as well, which is very exciting. Right, so how do you condense 30 minutes of Matt and I talking into one graphic? Well, here is a summary of everything you can expect with Train Sim World 5 coming to you on September 17th. So Matt, in practical terms, what does that mean that players get for each of the versions?
So Deluxe Edition, that's 20 locomotives and 15 pieces of rolling stock. And in Special Edition, 31 locos and 21 pieces of rolling stock.
Which is an amazing way to kickstart your Train Sim World collection. We have an impressive selection of routes and locos this year, we hope you'll agree, and a really formidable set of core features requested in the most part by you folks at home. So we hope there is something for everybody in Train Sim World 5. As with everything we do with Train Sim World, we want to show you a little bit about what we're working on before we get to September 17th. So we will be kicking off with our roadmap live stream on the 22nd of August. That is just 2 days away. We're going to talk a little bit more detail about all of the things that we've spoken about today. And we'll also be previewing all of the content that we have been talking about in the next 3 weeks before launch. Put the dates in your diaries because you don't want to miss them. So that is the Train Sim World 5 section of the live stream done. But there is still plenty more to look forward to, including 6 Train Sim World route reveals, which we're all very excited about, and a couple I think you'll be really surprised with. We'll also be talking a little bit about a new way to experience train simulation. That will be coming next. And we'll also be talking a little bit more about our Train Sim World Tycoon game for Roblox. That will be with our friends at Tailwind. And we'll also be checking in on the View app team to get a little bit more information about what they're working on with City Transport Simulator Tram. So stay tuned.
To finish off this section, we've got a special treat for you. Enjoy the new game trailer.